Yes, I think the U.S. has abandoned its post-Cold War strategy of hegemony, which presupposes the acceptance as legitimate of the provision of public services in the international system by the hegemonic power like the United States. The services the U.S. provided in the 1990s and 2000s were not just free security for many countries, but also the provision of the dollar as a global currency and access to the U.S. market, which was not necessarily reciprocated. Largely as a result of the rise of an authoritarian mercantilist state capitalist China, it became clear to the Obama administration and then later the Trump administration that China was not going to accept an American-led liberal international order. So the fallback has been not so much U.S. withdrawal from world leadership, but a much more restrictive definition of it in terms of promoting U.S. military power and commercial strength in a zero-sum competition. The Trans-Pacific Partnership and the Transatlantic Trade and Investment Partnership both failed because of a confusion of purposes on the part of the Obama administration. The administration had originally argued that these two trade treaties would allow the U.S. and its European and East Asian allies to write the rules of world trade, eventually forcing China to abandon its economic nationalist state capitalist model and adopt these more liberal capitalist rules. However, when it came to the actual provisions of the treaties, special interests in the United States, such as the pharmaceutical companies and financial interests, dictated many of the provisions, thereby creating a public backlash in the United States, which saw it as a giveaway to special interest domestic producers. In the case of the TTIP, as in the case of the earlier transatlantic free trade area that was discussed in the late 20th century, that came down to conflicts among North American farmers and European farmers. I believe President Trump's vision of Europe is as a free rider, which pays low security costs as a result of its dependence on the American military umbrella, and at the same time insists on being able to trade and invest as it sees fit in China, which has emerged as the major strategic rival to the United States. Having said that, I think Trump is much more focused on China than on Europe, and that much of the Trump administration's policy towards Europe is not well thought out and not part of a strategy, unlike its Chinese policy.